Hey, good morning. Today we're going to revisit inequalities. Earlier this year we did inequalities, but it was just like maybe one or two steps getting that variable by itself. And today we're going to do multi-steps. So that means we got maybe 3 or 4 steps to get to the final answer. Today we're going to do multi-step inequalities, but tomorrow we're going to have compound inequalities where we'll have 2 lines on a graph. So this is a really good one to go back and refresh. How do I do inequalities? And one of the big rules is this guy right here. Be careful, because I want to keep this in my head here, that I always flip the inequality sign whenever you multiply or divide by a negative. Got to keep that in my head. So usually this gets right down to that last step, and so then I just even kind of focus in a little bit more. Am I multiplying or dividing by a negative to get that sign by itself? Sometimes kids still struggle with this. How do I read these signs here? And as I read a book from left to right, on this particular sign here, I get to the smallest side first. So we call this guy less than. And I don't have the or equal to sign, so that means when I have a circle over here, I'm going to draw a circle on my number line, and then this way is less than. All these numbers are less than going to the left. So for example, if this was 4, 3, 2, 1, all the numbers this way go less than. Second one here is called greater than. As I read from left to right, I get to the fat part now, so this one's called greater than. When I go to graph it, greater than is everything that goes to the right. Okay, so these guys are kind of the same down here. This, again, as you read from left to right, I hit this side first, less than, but this one says less than or equal to. I want to underline the or because it only has to be either less than, or it could be the number right on the dot and it still would be true. And so when we go over here, still this way is going to be less than. We just have a dot here that includes this guy. So if it was 4, our final answer is x is less than 4 or equal to, 4 would still be okay. It would meet that rule of or equal to. Okay, same thing with this guy down here. Probably already know this. That guy is greater than or equal to. And so this guy here is going to have a solid dot on your number line, and it's going to go to this way. Alright, so again, we're just going to keep in mind that we have to flip that sign as we isolate the variable here. Last step, if we multiply or divide. Alright, so here's what I'm talking about. I'm just going to jump in on this guy. I'm not going to rewrite him or anything like that because I want us to keep my work fast and efficient here. But I do have to take 4 times everything inside the parentheses. And so, don't forget the second guy. And I want to bring everything straight down. My next step is, let's work on getting that x by itself. So right now you guys are really good at. If I have a plus 12, I need to get rid of him first. I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. Bring everything straight down. And what's that going to be? Minus 36, I believe. Last step, divide by 4, but I'm going to keep focused. I divided by a positive, so I'm not going to flip that sign. And negative 36 divided by 4 is a negative 9. So we come over here and remember our rule. I don't care where you put the negative 9, but I need 2 numbers to the left, 2 numbers to the right. I want to have an open circle on negative 9 because I don't have the or equal to sign, and I want everything greater than. That means all numbers more than negative 9, so my line's going to go that way. Okay? Let's get this guy. I'm just going to bring that x down because I got to take -3 times everything inside the parentheses. I want to look for like terms next. I got x's and I got x's. So after we get rid of parentheses, collect like terms as the second step. Then I'm going to work on getting my variable by itself. And we just keep practicing until we get really good. Now look at this one. To get rid of that -2 times x, I want to divide by a -2. And right there is my big guy. That flips the sign. So get that right out of the way. Flip that sign. It was pointing to the right. Now it needs to be pointing to the left. I still got my x here. 10 divided by -2 is a -5. Forgot to tell you, box your answers, please, because we're getting more and more answers here and papers, which is a good thing, and Fisher wants to get them back to you. Grading them back to you the next day. Alright, again, 2 numbers on both sides. And there's my answer, is less than, so that guy's going to go this way. Alright, so again, make sure you be careful with that flip the sign. Alright, you give this one a try. I got the answer on the next slide here, so pause your video, give it a shot. Okay, let's see how you did. Hopefully I have the answer on the, yep, I see it coming up here. Alright. We got rid of the parentheses. Look, down here I didn't have to divide by a negative on that one, so I'm good. So hopefully you got -2 solid dot. My answer is everything less than -2, and so I want to box that answer and go this way. Alright, let's work on this next one. You're probably working ahead of me, but I need to get rid of parentheses first. Make sure you get into this rule. A negative times a negative is a positive. Bring everything straight down. Next step is look for like terms. I see some x's and I see some x's. Let's get rid of that 8. Where did I mess up here? Because we shouldn't have, oh, I see why, because this is a negative. You're probably yelling at me. That's a negative. It's an easy one to fix. That's a negative. And now, that's going to be 16, -36, I believe. So now, here I am again. I'm back to this, let's divide by a negative. Did you remember to flip the sign? And negative divided by negative is a positive. So I still have some kids that kind of have to put this into the calculator to see what kind of an answer it is. You really kind of work on that. Negative divided by negative is a positive. It always is a positive. Just one of those rules that you have to memorize. And I want to have a solid dot. Make sure it's kind of nice and obvious. And I want everything greater than. Alright. But you can see our problem's a little bit more complex compared to the ones we had earlier this year. I think it was maybe 1, maybe 2 steps getting the inequality sign by itself. This guy looks like a pretty easy one because I don't have any parentheses here. When I have an inequality, I still like to get my x's on the left. Earlier, if I had equations, I tried to keep my x's positive, but on inequalities, I always try to get my x's right away over to the left. I'm not too concerned about it being a negative or a positive. I just want to make sure that when my answer is done, my x's are over there on the left, and I'm just going to keep track of whether or not I divide by a negative. I'll just stop talking here so I make sure I do my math right. I'm not going to flip the sign on that guy because I divided by a positive 8. Alright, so we got a 1 there. And I'm going to have an open circle. And I want all numbers less than. Alright? Give number 6 a try. I'm going to do more of these that kids start putting their answers on the whiteboard at school, because we're some kids are working real far ahead and other guys are kind of behind a little bit. So give this one a shot. Pause the video and then come back when you're done. Let's see what you got. Alright. Yep, look at this one. Did you remember to flip the sign? Alright, hopefully you got x is greater than or equal to -7. That means a solid circle on 7, and everything should go to the right. Alright, hopefully you did good on that. If not, just pause your video and see where you went wrong. There's multiple ways that you could start to solve this thing. You could +1 to both sides, or you could -20 and get that over here, which I don't know, would be kind of strange. But again, on inequalities, I just try to focus getting all my x's over there to the left. Okay? Alright, we only got 4 more, I think. Alright, let's do this bad boy. Now, sometimes kids struggle with this one. This negative is -1, really, times everything inside the parentheses. So I'm just going to bring that 3 down. But as we get more experience with math, whenever you see that negative sign touching parentheses, you're going to get into this habit that you just change the sign of everything inside the parentheses. -1 times 2 is 2x's. -1 times -7 is a +7. Another way to look at it is, what's the opposite of 2x would be -2. What's the opposite of a -7? My teacher taught it that way to me, but it kind of confused me a little bit. If I just put a little 1 there and do my parentheses like that, that kind of helped me. Alright, second step is always look for like terms, and on this one I do have like terms on the left side there. So I'll bring that -2x down, and 7 plus 10. Again, I like to try to, at this point where I have 4 terms, I like to get my x's over to the left. Kids at school are doing a real good job at the beginning of the year. They were looking up, looking down, looking up, looking down, and they were just copying all my work. But now that we have more experience, they become more confident and are doing a really good job of just looking up there once we have their final answer. What do we got, 6 there? Close circle on 6, and we want everything to the left. So it's not too much more challenging today. Let's get rid of those parentheses. Oops, not an or equal to then. Yesterday I had one kid that was doing his whole math in pen. Whenever he made a mistake, he had to kind of scribble it out. Got to do math in pencil. We make mistakes, especially when I'm busy talking here. My next step after this was collect like terms. You can see I put -3x's, they were both on the left side. That was a 6x's there. I'm going to get rid of my x's. In my head I'm keeping track right now. I have a -8x's there, so I know I'm going to flip the sign here in a little bit. I'll try to remember so I don't forget. I'm getting a decimal. Oh, this is a -6 up here. You're probably yelling at me again. See, that's when I gotta stop talking here. This is an easy one to fix, though. Just change my signs here to -6 and a -6 right there. And now I need to add 6 to both sides. I'll tell you when you start getting decimals here. So if you're getting something here, if I would have taken 18, take away 6, it would have been 12, and 12 divided by 8 would have been a decimal. But now what do I got? 6, 18, 24. And now if I divide by that -8, that's what I'm talking about. Have a pencil and you can just erase that and fix it right there. Now I'm going to go change my sign here as I write my answer. When it was going to point to the left, now it points to the right. And I got a -3. Now I like my answer. Open circle. Alright, 2 more. Just put a box around our answer there. Just getting more and more complex, that's all. It really won't get too much more complex than something like this, so let's get rid of those parentheses. There's that minus sign touching the parentheses, so I'm just going to change the sign of everything inside of it. I'm going to look for like terms. I got like terms over on this side. I'll put my -x there first. 8 plus 7. Let's get rid of my x to the left. Let's see here, 18 and 15, it's 33. Last step, sometimes I've been running out of the room. I'm sure you probably are too, so just move it up and continue your work. Okay, I was running out of room when I was making my answer key today. It's okay. I didn't divide by a negative, so I want to keep that sign going that way, and I know 33 divided by 3 is 11. Open circle and going to the right. Oh, you know what? Look way back here. I forgot to bring down my or equal to sign. So before I always go on, I go back and make sure that my sign, I got the right one, so that makes that a closed one. That's a good habit to do too. It's very easy to forget as you're going down. Okay? Alright, do number 10, pause your video, and then when you're done, let's check out how you did. I think this is our last one. Alright, let's see how you did. That one had a whole lot of parentheses and collecting like terms in there. Alright, collecting like terms on both sides. And not only that, I had to flip the sign down there on the bottom on my last step there. So hopefully you got all numbers less than -9. And let's continue boxing our answers here. Alright, well today, let's see how many problems you got today for homework. Just ignore this interval notation thing. Mrs. Tilton and I kind of got rid of that guy. I missed the whiten that out there on your paper there, but just ignore that. Just graph it, okay? All right, well, let's see. We're seeing how many problems. I think you have 10 problems today. All right, get busy, and we'll see you tomorrow.